Good morning, Vietnam.
Chief, you want to do the ad read?
I can do the ad read. What?
You ever seen that movie?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a great
Oh,
movie.
it's a good movie.
Great movie.
Why do you ask that?
I don't know.
Rest in peace, Robin Williams.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Great actor, generational guy. Love Miller Lite, Ed.
Did he love Miller Lite?
Yeah, let's just say
Who didn't? He has got that mural in Logan Square. So
he's definitely had a Miller Lite before.
I'm sure
Miller Lite?
Yes,
Yes.
probably several
probably
because
so.
they're great tasting and less filling.
And he's a regular he's a regular guy, regular folks. Anybody, it's a beer for the everyman, the common man. It's beer for even for a guy like you, White Sox
city
Dave.
guy? Because if he was a second city guy, I gotta imagine he was a Miller Lite guy,
I don't
right?
think he was.
No?
I mean, he's from Chicago.
Wait, I knew that. Why? Of course. He's from
Yeah, but
Chicago.
like-
He's from the Midwest. He is enjoying himself. Miller Lights. Doesn't matter if it's Bears game,
Well, he was.
Sox game, if they're ever going to play again. It doesn't matter if they're having some good old R&Rs and just want to kick back, relax, and strap it down with a couple Miller Lights. Robin Williams was consuming Miller Lite.
I
it's
consumed Miller Lite this weekend.
96 calories.
Get outta
how
here.
many
I did.
total calories this weekend then, Chief?
Well, can we just round to 100 for the purposes of this? Let's for now.
No.
No,
For
don't
the actual
shortchange
math.
on
Yeah.
the
Don't
4
you dare
calories.
do that.
Don't you do that.
Do you know how
right.
many scientists
All
were
right,
in the
so say you
R&D
had
lab
dwelt.
for years
Hold
to get
on,
to that
hold on,
96?
hold on.
You
Hold on.
had
600
you had
minus
12
30
beers.
minus 36.
Attaboy. Dave,
What is
you're
it?
there. Dave, you're right there.
554.
64.
Yeah.
Attaboy.
554. This is the weirdest start to a show ever.
Well, that's how Dave used to do his freight calculations. He always rounded down. He'd say, "Hey, how much fucking lettuce you got in the truck?"
I didn't
Yes.
move a lot of produce. I was more monster and illegal commodities, if you catch my drift, Ed.
I don't
actually
think
talked
you
to-
were. I don't think you moved illegal commodities.
Not
at all.
illegal commodities.
No,
I did
no.
partake in illegal activities here and there. in
Speaking
the
of
freight
trucks,
world.
speaking of trucks, there is no better truck to see on the road than the Miller Lite
That is
semi.
true.
When you see the Miller Lite logo plastered aside, and you're just thinking to yourself, "Man, I can't wait to get home, pop the feet up, have a couple cold ones." Ed, I know you've been there 1,000
iconic.
times before.
It's iconic. That was an iconic Northwest Side job. The guy who drove the Malarkey's beer truck and would have that Miller Lite button-up shirt, and you would just see.
Yeah,
it.
the powder blue,
Yeah,
powder
exactly.
blue with the name tag, navy shorts.
Yes, it was
black
legit.
belt.
Legit. I'm not kidding either. Like you had that Miller Lite.
Why hasn't he been on the dog walk?
Yeah, the
then?
truck.
Hey, one of my
We
best
actually
buddies from
talked
Home's
about it.
dad was a Miller Lite guy. He got the job when he was like 18, and then he kept it. I think he still has the same route. He's in his 60s. The guy's in unbelievable shape. He's like the union. He's an icon in our neighborhood as
Yes,
well. As you're
yes.
talking about, I'm like, what's the word I want? Eddie just used it.
Correct. It truly was an iconic spot. So shout out to that. And maybe we'll have to circle back and go get that guy because we reached out. He reached out and it was going to happen, and it never did. But we'll have to do it because that's a great spot. But regardless, we always love seeing him in his Miller Lite button down short sleeve shirt, I should say.
Great looking shirt.
Some people want to get Miller Lite. They're like, they're waiting for us to tell them how to get Miller Lite. And in White Sox, Dave, you're going to tell them right now.
You're going to go to MillerLite.com/redline.
Yep. To find the delivery options near you.
Yep.
Or you can pick up Miller Lite pretty much anywhere that they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
That is something I love about Chicago.
96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
You can bump into it. You bump into Miller Lites just walking around this city.
Yes, you do.
Okay, Dave, that was an ad read. Now, why don't you give us the intro?
The intro. I thought I did that already. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Chicago sports fans. This is White Sox Dave.
And Barstool Carl.
Chief.
Eddie.
And this is Redline Radio, and all gas, no breaks, Chicago sports podcast brought to you by Barstool Sports Chicago and the aforementioned Miller Lite. And we got a doozy of an episode today.
Doozy.
It's a good word. Ed, what, you made a face.
I don't know how I feel about Dave doing it.
I was thrown off with no Frank and Tony.
I wanted to
I
get.
know, that's what I was
Well,
throwing
I
off.
wanted
I
a little
thought we were
round.
just
I
doing
wanted a
sound
little
checks.
round table. I wanted a poll.
They're on vacation. They every
Oh,
year
they're down
in the Keys still,
after
right?
the Super Bowl they go.
They go to the Keys?
I don't like it when we start it and then I want everybody in on it.
Okay.
I want you.
The last I heard was Frankie got popped for illegally smuggling coke
The
into
last
the
I heard
keys.
is his nephew Dave walked out of the Super Bowl party with
I
a minute
heard that
20
too.
left.
Oh.
I had. I said I was staying for 4 quarters. I fulfilled my obligation to
No.
myself, and I left. What's wrong with that?
Well, I mean, critical junction of the game. It's not like it was
I
decided.
didn't have any money on the game. I didn't care about the game. Football was just it was just on to me.
It was it's the last football game for like 8 months.
That's fine.
So here's my spin on this, Dave.
Yeah.
Here's my take. You said before the game, you're like, I'm going to leave before the fourth quarter. And Chief was like, what? Why? And I was like, you know what? If he doesn't care, I don't think that's fine. Like, and if then you reiterated, if it's a blowout, you're going to leave.
Yeah.
However, like I was with you there. I was all the way with you. But then when you leave with 1:20 left and the last drive of the game, then it was like,
This is the guy who is
what's this
giving
guy
me
doing?
endless amounts of shit
don't
for leaving a
even
White Sox game early to go
go
home to
there.
my dog.
Don't
Like,
even
leaving
go
the
there.
7th
We
inning of
zoom in on
some
Dave's
First of
face.
all,
Man,
meaningless game in fucking
think that's-
August 2018.
First of
Like,
all-
who gives a fuck?
it's actually
First
a good
of
point.
all,
Get him,
I
Dave.
paid for those tickets, and I would have liked you to stay.
No, you didn't.
I am pretty sure I did.
Well,
I
you
am
didn't.
pretty sure I did.
You didn't because I got it at the gate. I got a random ticket. We both did. And
Okay,
well, you
whatever.
said it.
The whole point is that we were there together, you and I, and you wanted to leave in like the 5th inning, and that's not the first time you did that. That's like the
7th
5th
inning.
time
And it
you
was
did
not
that.
the 5th time. And I never did it until I got the dog. And he, especially at that time, and he was such a young puppy, I had to get out of there. You, just on your own accord,
I can name 3 times off the top of my head
all
that
of them,
you
in,
have done
all
that.
of them in 2019. All of them.
I don't know.
All of
One was
them.
in 2018.
All of them were in 2019.
This is actually a good debate.
29. It was my 30th birthday, which would have been 2018. So you're wrong.
Your
Very good
30th.
debate.
Oh, you're talking about the Notre Dame game? Mm-hmm. Yeah. First of all, not my call to leave. That was a girlfriend call to leave. And it was fucking miserable, and the game was over.
It wasn't over. They blocked a kick and took it to the house.
Notre
as the
Dame was
game.
a 2-score game in the 4th quarter. It was raining, sleeting.
It wasn't raining. It wasn't raining. It wasn't raining. That's. It was not raining.
It was,
There was,
absolutely a sleeting, freezing,
Don't let him
disgusting
argue with
rain.
you about
on.
this
You
stuff.
left
He's
the
doing
Super
it.
Bowl with a minute
Yeah.
23
You
to go.
had other people there, which is the point. You had other people there. It's not like you needed me there to entertain you.
Listen, there's two. Could I say something real quick? All right, there's 2 sides to this. All right. So this is for the people listening in their car or wherever you are right now. What's more fair or foul? Is it better to leave Sunday Super Bowl with a minute 20 left, knowing that there was a game-winning drive, or is it better to leave a July White Sox game in the 6th inning? Now,
When you say better
was
to
just
leave,
him and I.
Like,
what
what
do
is-
you think
it was
is
him
more
and I.
fair?
what's more acceptable? Like, what's more like would be recognized as
Now-
like the public would be like, okay, that's fine.
I think a lot of this
I had a
depends
4-month-old
on-
puppy at home.
Okay, that's.
That's
I mean, you're bringing a puppy,
Because-
no one's going to argue with
'cause
you,
here's-
so that's fine.
Davis.
But there's an important distinction here because I didn't bring this up to argue. I brought this up because, I mean, and this will be to your discretion, Dave, and your discretion only. The way White Sox Dave walked out of the Super Bowl is one of the all-time moments because you came up to me, you looked at me, you go, I got to get out of here. I blank, 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 blank.
We're not going to say it.
I know.
it helps your case though.
It certainly helps your case.
It would help my case.
And I'm saying what you told me is like one of the foolproof things where like it's up there with the puppy where you're like, well, what are you going to say to the guy?
It supersedes the puppy.
I know. And the way you walked out, dude, you just like blazed your
say
trail
it.
out of the.
Just say it.
I was going to meet up with the chick.
Yeah,
Specifically
the
to
way
do
he
what?
said it was.
What do you think, Ed? It
It
wasn't
was
up to me.
already 10 o'clock.
My
at
Don't,
night.
hands
hey,
were tied.
don't say it because he doesn't.
No, I'm not.
We're
You
going to
know-
leave it
I'm
at
not.
that.
It was
Yeah, we'll leave it
awesome.
at that.
It was
We'll leave it at that.
vintage. It was
We're
vintage
gonna
White
leave
Sox
it at
Dave in
that.
the moment. I felt like I was watching National Geographic and like the lion was like poised to like take down a deer. Like you just saw him in his element. He was just ready to go. He's just like,
I
gotta
said
get
I
out
was
of here.
leaving early.
It was awesome.
And it just so happened that I couldn't stay for the last minute. And you, Chief, didn't need me there because there was a dozen other people there for your entertainment purposes.
Yeah, that's an important distinction because when you buy a ticket to the White Sox game, you're not just
He was
getting
with-
admitted to watch the play on the field. You're going to get admitted to a whole day of
That's-
drinking experience.
That,
at White
that
Sox.
was, that was a
If-
time where I'm not leaving the dog for more than 4 hours. We went for 4 hours and I left. Like that
Okay,
was,
explain the Notre Dame game.
I didn't want to be there anymore. The game was over.
Okay,
and it was
explain the other White
freezing.
Sox game where
Same
you-
situation.
No, it
was
was
2019.
Statute of limitations.
you for the other one. It was who? I think it was Chris Emma. Actually, it was me, someone else. I forget who the third person was, and we ran into you on the concourse because we like lost connection with each other. And then you walked away and you're like, oh, I couldn't find you guys. We didn't move from where we were. You never came back to look for us.
I did. I took a lap.
No, you didn't, because we were standing in the exact. We didn't move 1 foot away from where you left us. And you're
I
like,
missed you.
yeah. So yeah, I left. Yes, I left early for a game I didn't. I'm sorry, I don't care about the Rams and the Bengals. I just didn't really care.
Can I
It was
ask you a
good
few
game,
more
though.
questions?
Go ahead.
Now, I just tell me what you don't want to answer. What you do? How urgent was it though? Like, what was she like? Now or never?
No.
Now or never.
We're not going to get into all that because it doesn't matter. The point is that I didn't need to be there for Chief. If I go to a game with Chief, it's me and him or anybody else. It could be me and Danny, me and you, and he's like, I'm leaving. That leaves me out to dry, does it not?
I don't think it does anymore, especially for you at a White Sox game.
It does, though.
And you had 2 high school friends at the Notre Dame game, too, in our section.
We randomly ran into each other.
Who were they? Who were they?
I don't know.
We
Two
just,
buddies of his from high school.
Yeah, just friends from
Give him
high
a shout
school.
out.
The Fultz family.
Thank
Carl,
you.
Carl knows
Oh,
them.
Thank
Joe.
you.
Shout out Joe.
Yeah, we ran into the Fultzes
Eddie, you're gonna
at
get
that
some
game.
DMs now. He's a nice
and,
guy.
but
Fultz
yeah, that was
family.
just like, they were there,
Big Cubs fan.
but Chief's like, yeah, we're leaving.
Was she
I'm
at
like,
a Super Bowl party beforehand or a bar?
What does it matter?
I'm just curious.
I don't know. But that's it. And that's all it boils down to. And he's trying to slander my name.
I'm with you,
I didn't
I'm with you,
slander
Dave,
anything.
for the record. I'm with you.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
even
on
know
your
why this
side.
is brought up. This is just I said I was going to leave early. I didn't even want to drink on that day. I will say this. I think the Super Bowl is up there with the most overrated days of the year.
To be out at the bar.
Yeah, so
To be out of the bar, it's probably the worst day of the year.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there was nobody out at that bar.
That's not fair.
That's not-
That's
no, not
fair at
nobody.
all. The upstairs, all the tables were filled, and it was actually.
But it
nice.
wasn't like ass to ass.
Yeah, I think
It's not a bar day, which is fine. But like
Typically.
typically, I would have 1,000% rather ordered a pizza and watch it with the dog on the couch.
You know
I
what?
would say it was the equivalent of I would rather do St. Patrick's Day at home than go to a bar for the Super Bowl.
See, I love St. Patrick's
Don't
Day.
sleep on St. Patrick's Day at home if you get a good party with a keg.
Yeah.
and
I'm not
whatnot.
talking about a party at the keg.
You're
Really?
I'm talking
just
about
sitting
just
on
like
your
being
couch.
at my couch and ordering takeout.
Well,
You're
could
getting
do
a
it. You
fucking
could-
corned beef
I'm
from Boston
saying,
Market.
dude, I'm trying to
You could
draw
do
a
it this year.
distinction.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
I see what
draw a
you're
distinction
saying.
of
I see
like
what
how
you're saying.
being at a bar for the Super Bowl is akin to
I don't know.
staying home and never mind. I fucking tried.
Nah, I get it.
I
know
don't.
you
I know
did
what
that.
you're
No,
saying.
you-
I know what you're saying.
I just-
I'm to the point now. I don't know like what it is. I can't focus on sports at the bar.
I can't either.
It's like it makes it impossible to watch the game.
I've been arguing that for a while, though,
Yeah,
to be fair.
and I've always
Probably
said
since
that
we
too.
started
Like,
doing this.
I don't think I've been to a bar for a Blackhawks game, like a big. Well, they haven't had a big game in fucking forever, but I can't watch, especially
Come
hockey.
on, summer playoffs. Pump the audio.
Yeah, well, that's for you because you're just there for the atmosphere. You're not really there to watch.
Well, I'm watching.
yeah,
Time
but
out,
it's
though.
like you look up when the
No,
goals
I'm
get scored.
I'm watching.
Yeah.
All you seen?
Time out, though. That's the differentiation here. Is it a word? Differentiation?
Sure is.
Sure is, Ed.
Is when you have to actually watch it and like talk about it, it's hard to do it. If you're just going for the atmosphere and have fun, 1,00000%.
Yeah,
Way
right.
different
You
scenario.
Yeah.
don't really even, but that's the thing. Like, this isn't necessary, kind of, sort of is, but it's not really our jurisdiction. It's a fucking Rams versus Bengals game. Yeah, we're going to talk about
Correct.
it.
I agree.
But
But,
that's
like,
a game
I'm
that
not-
I would normally want to watch. Like I like watching. I always watch the championships of whatever
Yeah,
was
of
going
course.
on. Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I was miserable being there by any means. I had a good time. It was fun.
I was. I heard a rumor, and I don't know, Eddie, if you could confirm this or deny it, but someone is saying that you enjoyed LA a lot, and you're trying to spend more time in LA.
Dude, let me tell you guys.
Have you heard that?
I've
Tom?
been all over the fucking place these past 2 weeks. I think I've been in Chicago like for 2 days. This is like a lot for me. I know a lot of people like travel all over the fucking place, but LA kind of sucks. I'll be honest.
Don't hold back. It doesn't. I mean,
He's fibbing,
What?
right? I think
we
he's
don't.
fibbing.
We don't have a lot of people in
What do
LA
you mean he's
listening to
fibbing?
this, so don't
What do you
worry.
mean
Yeah.
he's fibbing?
You didn't.
I mean, considering his transformation, I think that he's fibbing.
What transformation are we talking about?
I mean, he's driving around in a fucking Tesla And like,
I mean,
I saw him down
are we just
Sheffield
gonna do this
Avenue
every
the other
week
day.
now?
Yeah,
Is this what we're gonna do every week?
honestly,
Probably.
Probably.
As long as it annoys you, yes. So you better work
I mean, it
on
doesn't
your
annoy
acting
me, but
skills.
I'm just telling you how LA was, and I'm being truthful. To be honest, there's just one thing. It just takes a half hour to get everywhere, which is like
At least.
jarring.
At least.
It was
never been there.
jarring.
I have no desire to ever go either.
now if I live in LA, and someone says, how far is that far? And I say no. Do I say it's only a half hour? Like, is that a thing? Like the way in Chicago, I feel like 15 minutes is our unit of measurement. We're like, yeah, it's like you can get there in like
Yeah.
15.
It should be
15 is fine. Half hour is a big cutoff. Are people in LA okay with this?
I remember I have a buddy who lives out there. He actually just moved to Arizona, but he lived out there for like 8 years, and he could see his office building from his apartment. Like, you could see it. Take him at least 45 minutes.
That's
single
absurd.
day.
That's
Every
absurd.
single day.
Isn't
No,
that,
thank you.
that's like torture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's against the Geneva Convention, Dave.
It is. It is.
So you are not trying to spend more time there.
No, probably not. The weather is unbelievable, though.
It is great weather.
Unbelievable. Like someone put it perfectly, and I had not realized it until the time where it's like, you know, when you go hot places, and even when you're in the shade, like you're like still hot as fuck. LA, you go in the shade, you're like cool.
Yeah.
You're like good to go.
LA is look. It's one of those. I used to have to go out there to more so to Orange County than to LA specifically quite often, and you do kind of get like you land and there's palm trees and it doesn't like it sucks when you're driving, but the rest of the time if you're walking around, it's fucking great.
And to
Palm
be
trees
clear,
and elite tree.
I think I would enjoy places like that more than
Yeah.
West Hollywood. I think it's just
Yeah.
where we were too. From what I understand, it
You
was
were in
not a great
WeHo?
spot to be. Yeah.
I heard WeHo is the worst.
I'm also kicking myself because we were literally across the street from the Comedy Store, which I don't know if you guys know, but it's
yeah.
like the most legendary comedy club in the
Yeah,
nation.
Dave's favorite guys there.
Who?
Or who? Which one? of you guys?
Ballsack.
Rogan's been there.
all
All the
have.
guys,
I thought Rogan
everywhere.
talks about it nonstop.
He
Yeah,
does.
does
He used to.
Comedy
Oh.
store.
Used
Used
when
to.
he lived
Why is he
in
my
LA.
favorite?
Okay,
guy?
so you didn't go over there?
I did make it over once.
That's okay.
I know. It's like I'm never
You
going to
were
have
at
a better
BFFs.
opportunity. Yeah, I was there for a while.
How were those crowds?
The BFFs crowd, I don't know. It's just like TikTok people, you know? It's
So
like,
you were the oldest person there by 15 years.
well, like there was like a spillover from the people at the Yak and the people at that. So that was nice. I wasn't just the old guy. But it's like there's TMZ, like there's people that report on those guys. So it's like a different world for sure, you know?
Yeah.
But
yeah. It looked like an LA week. It looked like the trivia thing was fun. You know, like
and what's tough for me too is that's my first Super Bowl I ever went to. I didn't go to the actual game, obviously, but that's my first Super Bowl week. I have nothing to compare it to, you know.
I've been to the Big Ten Championship in Indianapolis, and that city is tailor made for.
That's what I've heard.
People
For-
say they do a
that's
good
what I've
job.
heard.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I've been twice now. It's fucking great.
I'd rather be known for the weather.
Yeah, I would too.
Hot girls.
I mean,
Yeah.
Indianapolis isn't like a cool city, but they do a
Yeah.
really good job at it. I heard everything for LA was just like insanely spread out. With Indianapolis, obviously, it's
Yeah.
a much smaller town. and
Indianapolis
it's
is known for
packed
doing
into-
a great job
Yeah.
hosting an event once every 7 years.
Well, they do the Big Ten Championship every year.
Yeah.
All that, but like they get a Final Four and a Super Bowl like every 7
And
years.
also, like, it hurts like the team that was in it because LA, like, there's really not much support behind them.
that was
And-
pathetic.
Yeah,
It's
you know.
Nick and KB's video was so good, so
Yeah,
fun.
yeah, it was hilarious. So that's why it was kind of tough. The Bengals fans, they must have came later or they weren't where we were, but it didn't feel like I was at a big game. It also got me to thinking. Here's a good point of discussion here, if you don't mind.
No, I would love it.
I was talking to Big Cat about it too. If the Bears were ever to grace us with an appearance, would you guys want to go?
I don't
I don't know.
so.
That's what I was saying. I was like, dude, I think I'd want to be on the streets of Chicago going nuts with the whole city.
Yeah,
But
I
Dan
think,
was like emphatic, and so was fucking Prez. They were like, no, you would be.
Yeah, I want to go
They were like,
because
you'd
I
be-
think the biggest Bears fans are going. So that's where like the mothership is going. You're like the craziest parts, the most diehards, the most energy, all the excitement. It's going. The Lions are
See, I
cute
don't-
with the helmets on
do you
and all
think
this
that's
stuff.
true?
Yeah, and the weather's better. I do think so.
I don't know.
I don't know
that.
about that.
I
I,
mean,
think
those
that's
tickets-
just there's you have to be a crazy fan and have the financial wherewithal to make that trip happen. So I don't necessarily agree that all the biggest.
I mean,
Bears
I think
fans
that
would
it's
be-
one of those things where, like, if the Bears make it to the Super Bowl, you do whatever you can to get there. And I just.
But that's still whatever you can is still not good enough for, I would say, 95% of fans.
Well, to be
No, I
fair,
don't know. I
Bears
disagree with
fans do
that.
travel like a motherfucker.
Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah, like when they
do.
were down in Miami, and like one of my
Yeah.
closest friends went with his dad and his brother and said it was like the best. I mean,
Yeah.
they still, I don't know. That's crazy. Well, the Bears have been to 2 Super Bowls since 1963. Am I
ever.
wrong?
2 Super Bowls ever.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
what? Those were the fucking world championships then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if they go to, I don't know, if they go to Super Bowl. But then I guess it's maybe different for a Patriots fan if you're like, all right, well, it's our fucking 8th Super Bowl, but
So now the way that you're talking has given me a little bit of pause. My instinct is to stay home, but that's always my instinct, no matter what the occasion. I just want to be home. But I think if I were to go to like a Super Bowl where I was like a neutral fan first to like get a vibe for it, then I would make the decision on the Bears. So like,
Yeah.
I saw,
Well, and here's something.
Steelers, somebody in Minneapolis. Okay, I'll go.
Well, here's what's tough too, and obviously, like, who knows if this would even be the case? But because Dave's like, yes, like because he goes to all the Patriot parties after, you know.
Yeah.
And Big Cat's like, dude, we definitely be able to sneak in or get in somehow. And I was like,
I don't.
He's like,
Depends
but-
on who's owning the team at that point.
and that's what he said. He said the only thing about that is the owners pay for the parties.
Right.
McCaskey ain't throwing a fucking rager, right? Like, there's no way.
no. But the guys who are allegedly in waiting would throw big ragers.
Yeah.
And so
Patty Ryan?
Oh yeah, and that little
Does he get down?
that little insurance crew. Oh, those guys are crazy. Those
Like
guys
the
have like budgets to throw. parties.
McCaskies are laying out Papa John's on the table. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's happening, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think they're building the party around Virginia. So
Yeah.
like music, lighting,
Everybody's
It'd be
doing
like
the
a
wall
Gatsby.
speak.
accessibility. You know, like I don't know, let's play some euchre.
Actually, that'd be fun. Doing a Great Gatsby like
That would
Super
be
Bowl.
sick, but it would not be that.
No.
It would be
Did you guys think it was okay for Joe Burrow to go out and get fucking loaded after they lost?
Yeah,
Definitely.
of course.
Okay, good. Me too.
I didn't see that. he did
I still
that.
I
found
didn't
it
see the
interesting.
videos.
I still
I
found
have
it
it
interesting.
under-
But he was like on stage with Kid Cudi and stuff like that.
Oh, was he?
Like at the night they lost. But I thought that was okay.
Gronk get a lot of shit for that back in the day? They lost.
He did.
And then he went. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
What is he supposed to do? Sit there and stew in it and like?
Well, no, actually,
punish himself?
Burrow was like, we had a great season. I'm celebrating. We had
Dude.
an awesome season. We came close. We almost won the Super Bowl.
Nobody in their fucking
like that?
right mind thought the
Ed,
Bengals were going to the Super Bowl.
If you're a Bengals fan, are you okay with that or what?
I don't think there's a right or a wrong answer. I don't.
Because guys, there are men in the Cincinnati Bengals fan base, probably older men, that are very unhappy with that.
But I understand that perspective too, because like you always have this fascination of like you want your guy to have that fucking MJ Kobe mindset, you know? Like you want your guy to be
Yeah.
like those fucking killers. That's like, hey, I'm not fucking satisfied with just coming.
You
to
don't
dance.
think-
They want Joe
Like, I
Burrow
wanna win the dance.
watching film at 2
Yes,
a.m.
you're
Yeah.
always gonna get that, and I understand.
Yeah.
Like
that's unavoidable, but I'll never understand that. That's just as meathead and irrational as it gets.
I guarantee you MJ was at a casino somewhere after losing the Pistons.
Yeah,
In 1990.
absolutely, 1,000%,
yeah.
and that's fine. He can do him.
All right. Last thing I hated about the bar, watching. I like the bar. Leave
great.
that in. You cut that out. No, don't cut that out. The thing I don't like about watching the Super Bowl at a bar is cutting away from commercials and then pumping in like the fucking Jock Jams audio.
Yes.
Did you? So then I missed the Sopranos commercial, and it was a great Chevy commercial, and we fucking love Chevy here.
we do love ChevyDriveChicago.com, Chief. Even so, they're giving away a jersey.
It's what Taves and Kane drive. So if you want to get a jersey, you just head to ChevyDriveChicago.com to enter to win. And it's for Blackhawks fans. It's what those two guys drive. It's what everybody should be doing. Head into ChevyDriveChicago.com. They have everything you need. You need a new car. You need to get your oil changed. You need tires rotated, brakes, all that. It's almost road trip season. You want to make sure you get through the winter safe and sound. Check out ChevyDriveChicago.com to find a dealer nearest you and enter to win that jersey.
Yeah, Patrick Kane signed jersey.
It's great.
Silverado,
got-
Colorado.
Who doesn't love 88?
You getting a pickup truck?
I would get a pickup truck if I had this. I don't have the space for it in my garage.
I've always wanted a pickup truck.
Well, the Colorado's a little smaller, so maybe the Silverado's a little bigger version. So they got options.
Paid my car off a couple months ago, and I know that down the road I'm going to be in. Thank you. I'm going to be in that market. I'm going to want the space. I'm going to want the size. I'm going to want the fucking power beneath my feet, and that's exactly why I'm going to be thinking about what a Silverado.
Silverado.
Dave.
ChevyDriveChicago.com.
ChevyDriveChicago.com.
And Eddie, after your LA trip, you're going to get Dave a Malibu? You guys a little Chevy Malibu?
Yeah. I'll get you a Malibu, Dave.
Malibu's a good car. I've had it as a rental before.
The Malibu's a really nice car.
Is it still manufactured?
I don't know.
I don't know.
That's a good question. I'm not positive.
It was like the number one corporate America mid-market.
They do. There is a 22.
Regional sales guy.
Good.
If you're driving around Chicago.
There's a 2022 Malibu.
I'll get as specific as you want about these make and models, guys. 2011 was a great year for the Malibu. What else?
Yeah, starting price about $26,000. Yeah, Malibu's a really nice, perfectly adequate. That might be my next car, actually.
There you go.
What else?
Not a whole lot else. We're in the dog days of winter. I have said it 1,000 times. This is by far the worst month of the year. Absolutely horrendous.
Do you think that's a unique take?
No, it's not a unique take. It is helped out a little bit with the 17-week NFL season because usually the Super Bowl's like first week of February, now it's second, so it helps a little bit. But man, these next 2 weeks are going to be brutal, fucking awful.
I agree. I will say though, tonight, if you're a hockey fan, tonight's a great night. You have 4 like big games.
Yeah, but isn't it just like so far away from?
Yeah, even then you're
Jack Eichel played in his first game in Vegas. You got Carolina, Florida. That's going to be like an Eastern Conference final preview. Sorry, Tom. And Minnesota and the Jets, they hate each other. Ryan Hartman might kill a guy. So I think
I do like that.
Yeah, I do like that too. I actually asked him,
I like that.
Are you going to kill somebody tonight? And he goes, we'll see. So I think it's worth tuning in. That's at 6:00. There should be some fireworks. So yeah, I think there's a lot. If you like hockey, tonight's a good night. But I do agree with you. The most part, this is usually the dog days. So this for whatever reason, we just got lucky that tonight we get 4 on Wednesday night. 4 awesome games.
Would you rather have one night or would you rather have 4 nights in one game each night?
I think now the way that the broadcast rights are, I like just being on that Hulu or ESPN Plus. I don't know why I always go to Hulu first, and I just rifle through the games. Commercial, go to the next one, go to the next one. So as opposed to like spreading them out and having like, 4 days of one thing at night in a row can be a lot. So I think I'd rather just have like 2 games going at the same time, click over late games, do the same thing. So personal
I got a question
preference.
for you.
Go ahead.
Do you believe in a thing called love?
I do.
It saddens me to report that Aaron Rodgers and his fiance have called off their engagement. So that's a story.
Oh,
you want to rip on Aaron Rodgers a little bit, Ed?
Sure, Dave.
I got nothing. That's what I'm talking about, though. This fucking this 2-week stretch.
What? No, I mean
is killing my soul, and I blame Jerry Reinsdorf.
All right, so to be fair, if I ask if I'm like, Dave, what do you got? And if you say nothing, because the time period's bad.
No, it's not that I don't got nothing. It's that I don't got anything good. I would love to talk about how pitchers and catchers were supposed to report yesterday. I would love to talk about how Lucas Giolito is finally going to establish a 4-pitch mix. I would love to talk about how Yoel Moncada is going to get back to that MVP-type quality form, but we can't do it.
We can't. We can't. And
we can talk about why they aren't going to be doing that. Or, I mean, they will eventually, obviously, but
I think we've pounded that drum. I think people understand that it's the owners. The players don't, like you said, don't have that much leverage. This is going to go on for a little bit. There's been a couple things that have come out along the way that are like these small little nuggets that are worth, talking about, I guess, on the blog. And we don't have to like get into the mechanics of Major League. They're trying to cut minor league roster spots. They're trying to devalue the minor leagues. Like, there's not that much these guys agree on. They're cutting the draft to 20 rounds. Like, there's just some shit that's going on. At this point, the season's not going to start on time.
Did you talk DH last week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Did
I?
This
is
remember
heavy.
talking about it.
This is all really boils
the
down
DH is not the DH. The DH, they don't need to do the DH. They're doing the DH. It's stupid. The players that are agreeing to this are idiots in the long run. They're taking away, spreading out plate appearances. The offensive value isn't there. It's nominal offensive value. The American League scores less than 2.5% more runs than the National League.
Wow.
That's shocking.
Yes, it is. Shocking. You'd have to play 16 fucking games to feel like a noticeable. Ooh,
How
we
long
scored more runs over 16 games.
How long of a period is that charting?
An entire season.
No, like, so is that just based off of 2021?
No, then go back the year before. It's 2.7%.
It's always about that. In
In
that
the
range?
year of COVID, the National League
There was all
scored-
DH. There was
there
was universal DH that year.
and there were 8 of 15 National League teams underperformed relative to the year before when they didn't have a DH.
That'll change though. That'll 100% change your sub. I saw the stats yesterday.
But that's because the starting pitcher is only making like 1.9 plate appearances per game. They're taking them out. Pinch hitters are coming in, and even in the first at bat through a lineup, you're going against a major league starting pitcher. Like you're in their first time through a lineup, which is typically when pitchers are at their best first time through a lineup. And so the DH the first time through the lineup isn't necessarily killing it relative to the DH.
Okay, that makes sense.
throughout the course of the
That's-
season, and so those at bats compared to a pitcher
Yeah.
hitting, I don't know.
Everything you're saying makes a lot of sense. I guess I was just wondering, does that thing hold up over like a 30-year look at
I don't think
NL
it would.
verse AL?
I mean, you're taking.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It
no,
might.
it does.
It
It
does.
does.
Yeah.
It does.
Okay.
It does. It go back to 1988, and the starting point for all this was when Dennis Eckersley had 21 one-inning saves. And then it was like, oh, wait a second. There's such concept as a one-inning late-game reliever, and then everybody got into it. I actually think he did it in 91, but the data goes back to 88.
Okay.
So you've got, got a lot of shit.
It's a big
going on.
sample
Yeah,
size.
it's
Yeah.
a big sample
Yep.
size over
Okay.
30 years. So there's the DH talk. That's going in. Everybody's excited. Ooh, I wish we had Schwarber and all this stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all just it comes down to pitching. And I guess a bigger question I have for Dave is, if you want to take any victory laps, Justin Fields announces he's loyal to the White Sox.
Was that an official announcement, or is he just wearing the hat because it's a cool hat? I did not see an official announcement.
I didn't either.
I heard that Justin Fields, I saw it and I heard it. Justin Fields is a White Sox fan.
Well, if that's the case, he's in for life. And if I see him gallivanting around the friendly confines at any point in the future, he can obviously go to games at Wrigley, but if he's in a
What if he throws out the first pitch?
if he's in a Cubs jersey that says Fields 1 on the back, he's banned.
I thought the athletes are a gray area though.
There is a little. I mean, it depends. If he actually said I'm a White Sox fan, then he's in. Like, there's no going back. But if, like, for instance, like I don't give a like Patrick Kane, if he's throwing out the first pitch at Sox Park and Wrigley, do not care at all, because I know in the deep down he doesn't give a shit.
Right.
He's probably, I don't know, he's from Buffalo, but
Blue Jays fan.
yeah, Blue Jays fan or whoever.
Is he actually?
Nah, I just made that up. I don't know.
But he doesn't care about those teams. But if Justin Fields says he is actually a White Sox fan, then he's in. There's no going back. It's like a secret society. Speaking of which, Cusack's got a new movie coming out with Emil Hirsch. It looks kind of good. Did you guys see the trailer?
I haven't.
The trailer looks good.
I like Emil Hirsch a lot.
He's awesome.
Yeah, I feel like he hasn't done anything in a while.
That's because he's been blackballed.
Yeah,
Oh.
he had a bad situation.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in it's those two co-starring in some action movie. It looks like it could be good.
Okay.
I'll check it out. I'll give it an unbiased opinion.
Okay, MLB. Let's wrap it up on MLB here, Dave.
So this is what I gather. So right now the standstill is obviously it's all about money at this point. They agreed to the universal DH, all that shit. That was easy in layups, but in order to have owner approval, 23 or more owners have to agree on any given topic. So right now, on the latest proposal, the collective bargaining for the collective bargaining agreement, the luxury tax it would be like $214 million, then it would go up $2 million in the following couple of years until the offered CBA expires, which in the end is pennies on the dollar. Teams like the Yankees, the Mets, the Dodgers, they want the luxury tax to be like $260 million. So they're not getting taxed for spending money trying to put forth the best team with the most expensive players. The holdup is the teams like the Cincinnati Reds and the Minnesota Twins and the Milwaukee Brewers, St. Louis Cardinals, teams that aren't from large markets and their owners are like, fuck no, we're not pushing it to because we'll never be competitive. Fuck that, we can't afford that. So that's where the standstill is. So it's owners fighting amongst owners at this point, and the players just want to get on the field and play. And until the owners get their ducks in a row, that ain't gonna happen. So they got to figure something out. But this is we're recording this at it's
That's
almost
really
1
annoying.
o'clock. Yeah, it's really fucking
Because,
annoying.
you
It is
know,
the first time I thought through this whole process that they might miss games.
Because if it's the owners squabbling with each other, like you guys had, how long was it since last 10 years? Like you knew
2012, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so you knew this date was coming. Like it's not like you should be caught by surprise.
Nope.
Like you guys should have worked this out, been a unified front, then gone to war with the players and got it figured out. But like if you can't figure out where your own group of 30 people are,
And that's how it's. You'd think it'd be much easier to unite 30 owners or 30 majority owners than 1,200 baseball players.
You would think.
You would think. But the players just want to get on the field. Adam Wainwright said it probably, I think it was like Friday or so, 4 or 5 days ago. He's like, dude, end the lockout. And people don't understand, the owners are not letting baseball players report. Like,
Right.
they could end this lockout right now, and they could operate under the following CBA rules, and they could be playing games. The owners are like, no, we're not doing that. So the owners, like, it's all on the owners. 100% of it is on the owners. Adam Wainwright, who is a very respected voice amongst the players in baseball, he's like, dude, if we had the same rules as last year, we'd be playing at spring training right now. Yeah. So baseball continues to be its own worst enemy. They're gutting a beautiful sport, a poetic sport, a romantic sport.
All right.
And it fucking sucks.
You were getting at the end there.
I would, because I know in the back of my head, I can't say this definitively or factually, I know Jerry Reinsdorf is spearheading this, and he did the exact same fucking thing in '94. I thank God every morning I wake up that I was too young to remember the '94 strike, because if he would have done this to me in 2 competitive windows, I would have done something unholy.
Finish it, Dave.
I would have done something unholy.
Finish it. Threaten him. Threaten him right now.
I'm not threatening anybody.
Go on record.
I'm not threatening anybody. I would have voiced my displeasures all over the internet.
You know what? What's the movie with Dan Aykroyd?
Airheads.
Nope.
Coneheads.
Wow. I just said the Coneheads, dickhead.
I said Airheads. I mixed it up. Messed it up.
Come on, Ed. It's one of your all-time favorites.
Wait. Restate
Tommy Boy?
Well, it's under the pretense of White Sox Dave's unhappy as a fan. And, like, there's an all-time Dan Aykroyd movie where he, too, is unhappy as a fan. And he takes
Celtic Pride?
All right, so how fun...
Haven't seen it.
we should remake Celtic Pride, but it's like White Sox Pride, and it's about White Sox Dave kidnapping the owner.
That's a great premise.
Because Dave wouldn't kidnap Jerry Reinsdorf to torture him or do bad things to him. He would be like, I want you to sit here. I want you to listen.
Picturing White Sox
you
Dave.
don't think that's torture?
No, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Like,
I
he's
think
like,
that might end the lockout.
Picturing-
If he had
he's
to-
like,
he
open
had
the
to-
books.
How many hours locked in a room with White Sox Dave would it take Jerry Reinsdorf to
Picturing White Sox Dave in that oversized Michael Moore suit with a fake gun and like slick back hair, holding it and be, open the books, like would be enough, and it makes me laugh.
As a joke, would
Yeah.
you ever consider doing this, Dave?
If it ended the lockout, I'd take one for the team. I'd risk jail time, kidnapping charges. Speaking of Emil Hirsch, I was thinking about Alpha Dog this morning.
I love that movie.
It's fucked up, but great movie. Speaking of kidnappings.
Okay, so onus is on the owners. More stuff coming. Baseball's delayed. Sports dying. Said that forever.
Fucking cunts. They're all cunts.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, cunts. They're cunts. I'll say it 1,000 times if I need to. They're cunts.
We're on the player side.
Yeah, 100%.
You and I are jointly.
I think it's very easy to be on the player side too, because I don't know if this is because I follow baseball closer Chief, you could probably speak to this since there's been labor issues and labor disputes in hockey over the course of the last our lifetimes at least.
3 lockouts.
Is hockey or the NFL or basketball? I think basketball is just a well-oiled machine, so I'm taking them out. But other sports, their negotiations aren't near this public, I feel like. Maybe that's just a product of the social media age we're in these days.
So the last work stoppage was in 2013. I don't recall how public it was. I do remember like in 2004, I was in prep school and like being on like early internet, reading reports that like, oh, they're about to reach a deal, and then it fell apart and they canceled the whole season. But I don't know if it was as public as baseball. Hockey has just like, they've kind of got it figured out now finally. But they have different challenges because they have so many of these teams that are either, you're in Canada where your dollar just doesn't go as far, okay, because you have to pay players in American dollars, but you take in Canadian dollars. So if the Canadian dollar takes a hit, like you have 7 teams that are financially kind of fucked or more fucked than they should be.
For sure.
And then even if they're selling out, like Toronto and Montreal, whatever, they're still like struggle to...
Which makes sense.
With some finances because of the exchange rate. And then the other one, one of my favorite things, yeah. And then you have a lot of these southern teams that are just failures. So it's like you have it kind of like, Florida's getting going now, but they haven't had fans there since 1996. And Arizona, they're on like their 6th or 7th owner, it feels like now, and they're about to sign a 3-year deal to play at Arizona State for a stadium that holds 5,000 people. Okay.
Did not know that. Yeah.
So they're
crazy.
trying to figure out, well, should we buy it? Build a new stadium. They got evicted basically out of the Glendale Arena where they've been playing the last 10 years or so, maybe longer. But yeah, so like the hockey just has some unique challenges that I don't think exist in other sports. And but this last CBA round in 2013, it's been pretty good since then. Like I think the whole league's getting better. The Coyotes, they should just move them out of there, put them in Houston or something. But yeah, that's kind of where it's a little bit different than baseball.
It's all gross though.
Yeah,
it's all fucking disgusting, Ed.
Hockey feels like sometimes like teams could legitimately collapse. So where I don't feel like baseball has any teams that are like that financially unstable.
No,
like
the
Sabres went bankrupt.
So flush in cash.
Yeah. So the Sabres almost went bankrupt. The Penguins almost went bankrupt. The Coyotes did have to declare bankruptcy, and like the league has stepped in to like basically bail them out and keep them in the league, and they would like run and manage the team. So it was like a very fucked up situation. So hockey's a little bit different.
Yeah, baseball is just 30 owners that are fucking and
cunts, some would say.
They are cunts.
Yeah.
They're cunts, but I typically I'll never how should I word this? I wouldn't typically lambast somebody for making a business first decision, but it's just like you got to balance it some way
because you're pro business.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's their business. They can do what they want, but at the same time, like prioritize winning a little bit with respect to your bottom line.
Yeah, I think that's
and some owners do for sure, but like, and this is getting way too deep, and I'll cut it short after this. But like, there is no reason that the Indians should be looking to trade Francisco Lindor. Something like, for example, like that should be a guy that plays in shortstop for the Cleveland Indians for 15 years.
Yeah,
and they shouldn't be looking to move him for money reasons, and they always are because bottom line comes first over winning. And the Indians have been really good for the last 6-7 years. And they could have been really good still, but they're fucking trading all these guys. It's like, what? Like, I get money issues and all that, but come on, man. Like, the Dolans are billionaires,
Right.
It grosses me out. And they're gutting a beautiful sport, like I said.
I guess it does or doesn't remind me of Innovative ADD.
Okay.
So if you guys are getting your ADHD medication, you guys need help sourcing that. If it's a pain in the ass, we cannot recommend our friends at innovativeadd.com enough. If you are a resident of Illinois, then this is the spot for you. It's a real clinic. It's not this online phony jabroni stuff. You get you go in for a visit, and then they set you up for refills. It's super easy. It's innovativeadd.com, innovativeadd.com. If you're a resident of Illinois, they take insurance too. Like I said,
That is a differentiator.
yeah, no phony. This is real stuff. So
Based here in Chicago.
oh yeah, we've had some success seeing their locations around too.
Yeah, and also, it's the extra doctor visits, they kind of cut those out. It's, after your initial appointments,
Yeah.
you can see your provider virtually through telemedicine. So that's nice too. In a time when, you're just, like Chief said, you're not trying to leave the house.
Right. Especially this time of year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. About to get pelted with snow.
Yep.
So telemedicine visits save you time, get online, get that medication filled and get back to your life. So innovativeadd.com, it's definitely the way to go if you're looking to fill that medication.
Did you guys see Zach LaVine tweeted something out, and people are now curious if Zach LaVine's gonna. I don't think he's coming back for tonight's game against the Kings, but he wants to play in the 3-point contest. He wants to play in the All-Star game. He's missed 9 of the Bulls' last 15 games with some vague knee stiffness, and he's in LA seeing another specialist, and so it sounds like he might be participating in All-Star game festivities. Does this bother anybody?
I mean, for 3-point, no.
No.
I don't think so. That shouldn't bother you.
No.
At all.
You would think if he's getting into rehab, he's probably doing similar motions anyways, right? If he's resting, getting ready to play, getting things cleaned
How
up.
has he been out for?
He said 9 out of
9
15.
of the last 15 games going back to January 15th. Just some, and it's not like a tear or a pull or this
Just
and that.
maintenance.
It's just, stiffness.
Yeah. I heard he had a clicking.
Okay. That could be cartilage. It could be just a scope.
Yep. So, but yeah.
In his stead.
Yeah.
His stead, I think we've seen. One of the things we talked about the Bulls team at the beginning of the season was what happens at the end of the year. Does LaVine being out for this time period and then DeMar going for 40 fucking points every single game and just killing people in the fourth quarter move him forward now, or do you still think it's we'll just see what happens at the end of the year?
I want people to bet responsibly, but my favorite thing that I've been doing lately is waiting for the Bulls to go down by 5 or 6 in the third quarter, betting them live, get them at plus 140 against the Spurs or whoever else, and then it always pays off. It's just because DeMar is just okay, it's time to take over, and he wins the game. So it's been, I think I've done it 4 or 5 games in a row now, and it just always works. And so I think it's going to work itself out. I don't think the way that LaVine has talked, about this team and this year and the way the whole group seems to talk, there's no way that LaVine would risk greater goals to participate in the All-Star game.
Right.
So I think it's one of those things where you just trust the guy, who knows his own body better
and the
than
Bulls
anybody.
wouldn't let
Yeah,
him.
okay, so there's no way he's looking at this and being he's not looking at his knee right now. This is going to hold him up in the playoffs in their ultimate pursuit of a championship.
That is my assumption, and I feel like it's a safe one based upon the way he's talked this year.
And I like a superstar. I hope this is true because I like a superstar that's I'll play in the fucking All-Star game with the other superstars. And when it's time, it's time.
Yep.
As opposed to him being fuck, I'm going to miss the Sacramento Kings game. Pat Riley's Knicks teams were in the news a lot when we did the Oakley interview and the interview with Kirk. And there was another, a book that came out that time. And there were just all these stories about Pat Riley not letting you take a day off. Under no set of circumstances. We'd be well, would you take a day off for the Eastern Conference Finals if we fucking needed you and your pinky was still at sore? I'd be no. And then fucking get in your uniform and get your ass out on the fucking court.
Yeah.
All right. That's a terrible way to manage the egos and the superstars and the skill sets that it takes to win an NBA championship. I would much rather bend the knee to Zach LaVine and be listen, dude, you want to sit against the Spurs and the Kings? You want to take some time in February? You want to let DeMar run some offense and give more playing time to Io?
Yeah.
That's all great.
Yeah.
If it makes him happy, but who knows? Whatever.
Happy and healthy. That's all we care about. So, and I think they're on their way. Look at it. It's he's missed a bunch of games. They're still tied for first in the Eastern Conference. So it's what are we talking about? If they're gonna go on a run, it's gonna happen, and he'll be in the lineup. And I don't know.
I am scared though.
About what?
We're just gonna get a random push notification from Woj soon, and it's gonna be I would be lying if I said I wasn't scared.
No, all right. Well, now you got to finish your thought.
Do you think it's?
I'm not speculating. I don't know anything.
Oh, that's exactly what you just did.
Well, Dave, yes, I literally just said I'm afraid we're getting a push notification saying he's hurt, like he's seriously hurt. And I think everyone has that in the back of their mind because we're fucking battered and we're used to dealing with knee injuries for this franchise.
Yeah.
The Bulls wouldn't let Zach LaVine participate in All-Star Game festivities if they didn't have a 100.
That's not my point. That's not what I'm saying.
I mean, what I'm saying is that
You trust
if
the Bulls medical staff with knees?
I'm saying that if he does participate in All-Star festivities and does get hurt, it won't be because he's been nursing a sore knee right now. It'll be just shit luck. And I don't think it'd be anybody's fault other than shit luck. Sometimes knee injuries just happen.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, even if it happens right now, before, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
If it happens, I'm pre-annoyed with the narrative.
Yeah, exactly.
That he played in the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at.
I mean, you don't got to play a lot.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's not like they're being physical anyways. They're just fucking around out there, which kind of makes it even worse to play devil's advocate.
But I don't know, is there like that was such a high, the Kirby Doc thing. Is there a little bit of shades of that here? I mean, it's a little different because that was a freak.
Yeah, and that is also
wrist.
a hyper-competitive tournament.
Event, yeah.
But
still a
scrimmage.
A meaningless thing.
I don't think it is meaningless. That World Junior is a big deal. It's a way bigger deal for hockey players than
I thought you said it was no big deal it was
no
big deal for them, but like for the Hawks to say no, it wouldn't have been a big deal.
Correct.
Yes, that's what
right.
That's
every player wants to play in that, but it's like the Hawks have to be. They should have been adults and been like, look at man, like you're a top 6 guy on this team. Like you can't be playing in this tournament with before the season. We need you in training camp. We need you to develop. We need you to do this. We need you to do that. So that was like the Doc thing where I was disappointed that they let him go. But I think some of the thinking was that he would go there, wear the C, be one of the best players on the best team, and gain some confidence back that Jeremy kind of fucking berated him and stole from him in the first year, his rookie year. So. But yeah, and if you look at him, he's finally starting to kind of round into shape a little bit here. He's looked really good the last few weeks. So
that's good.
So could be an interesting piece. And Kane kind of said that too. Everything with the Hawks. If we want to transit, you done with the Bulls?
I had a transition.
Okay.
Because
yeah,
we could be here for a little bit. I don't want to get too late in the show before I ask Dave about what the stiffness in Zach LaVine's knee versus the stiffness in his boners when he uses Roman products.
Well, he's just like kind of half stiff, right? Like it's just a little kind of irritated. I'm full mast when I use Roman.
Is that so?
It is so.
The folks at Roman, an online men's health company, they're changing the game with swipes. Can you confirm or deny this, Ed?
I
Is
can
your
confirm.
game changed?
Oh yeah. Dave, I mean, Super Bowl. Can we get a little swipe on?
No, there was no swipes being used at the Super Bowl.
that's a shame.
Were you discreet?
I mean, if I were to have used swipes for the Super Bowl, yes, they would have been discreet. They can easily slide into your wallet and all that good stuff. Yes,
Clinically proven too.
You like that, Chief?
I do.
You like having the study and the data there?
You know me. I'm a get in the weeds guy, study guy. So I like
87% of boners are
extra stiff for longer. thanks to Roman. So
99.9. I gotta include some margin for error. I'm sorry.
People can go to getroman.com/ the ad copy says dog walk, but I'm sure there's a Redline version of that as well. But yeah, go to getroman.com.
it is /Redline.
And get your first month of swipes for just $5 when you choose a monthly plan. And I've said this time and time again, they think you're having a lot of sex. They think a month's worth of sex is, they had a different definition of that than I do. So Roman, go to getroman.com.
Some horny boys out there.
Chief, it was Valentine's Day this weekend. Carl, you're married. Did you guys consummate your relationships this weekend with Roman?
With Roman?
Yeah. After a nice, hearty meal. Nice, maybe
did.
a little
For
comfort.
hours.
For hours, huh?
For hours.
Well, he had the swipe.
Well, I mean, hours is like that's
Deep into the morning hours of the 15th, Dave.
I am exceptionally proud of you, and I'm exceptionally
And he made a 7 a.m. burger.
And it was delicious.
for her in bed.
No, it wasn't for her. It's for me.
What about you, Chief? Did you make
Did you
breakfast
see
in bed?
my grill was under
Breakfast
snow.
in
I
bed?
fixed it.
No, I went to La Scarola, so I just went home and went to bed.
Now, if you have the leftovers in
full.
the morning, is
I
that
did
weird?
do
Or
that.
okay.
No, I did the leftovers. I did them probably
Whoa.
around 11 a.m.
But hey, let's
leftovers.
point fingers at the guy who's grilling fresh ground chuck, putting that odor in
6
the neighborhood. This
I don't
lady's
hate that
out
move.
walking her dog. She's like, "What the fuck is wrong with this guy?"
Oh, that's really funny. Rams GM Les Snead wore like the Michael Jordan "fuck them kids" shirt, like the meme. He wore a "fuck them pics" shirt with his face behind it. I like that.
Like, yeah, we got the Super Bowl. And we don't need those draft
Yeah,
picks.
the guy
I
just
mean,
traded
it
a
was like the
million picks.
biggest gamble ever,
Yeah,
and it worked out. So that's why I do all
Yeah,
that
he
shit.
sold his soul for the Super Bowl. He did it.
A couple of years from now, or however many, like for the next 8 years or however long they've got these picks, like, is there any element of an actual Rams fan being like, "What the fuck"?
There'd have to be an actual element of actual Rams fans first. Like, I don't like they're not even gonna fucking care.
I'd be so mad if I was a real Rams fan and just like the narrative of the world. I mean, they can't be that mad because it's like true. But
Yeah, I think there's probably more real Rams fans in St. Louis than
I don't know about that. I talked to a few people from
Oh,
St.
no,
Louis,
they
and they
hate
fucking
them.
hate
I'm-
him.
yeah.
They hate him.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
But that's my point. I feel like they
Good.
had real fans back then, and now it's just like the place to be. It was all
I
influencers.
think there's more Wolves fans.
Chicago Wolves?
Yeah.
Then
than Rams.
how about Fire fans? Do you think there's more Chicago Fire fans than Rams fans?
That's a good question. I still can't make heads or tails on Fire fans.
I'm going to do some firsthand investigating.
I bought season ticket.
You did? You
No,
bought it?
but I evaluated the package. We talked about
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. So I've been talking to people on the internet about it. I wrote a blog about it yesterday. I'm going to check it out. I don't care about the Fire at all at this point, but I'm always looking for a good time. Now that they're not at Toyota Park,
I mean, jeez, dude, come on.
What?
Give them a little bit. You're coming into this thing being like we're on a first date, and you're just like, listen, this isn't gonna go well. I'm trying to get fucked, so let's get on.
look at but I can't sit here and be like, I've known the Fire have existed for 20 years.
Yeah.
And it's so I'm not going to be like, well, now I'm the biggest Fire fan. I'm going to see how it goes. If it grabs me when I'm there, maybe I'll get on board. For now, I'm in a wait and see mode.
I think you're gonna be a big Fire guy.
curious.
I think
I'm
you're
curious.
gonna. I think you're gonna. What's the word? It's gonna be romantic.
I hope so. They don't sing enough songs as far as I can tell, which I think is a big part of being a soccer fan. You got to have good songs to sing when you're at the stadium.
Well, everybody's got to bring something to the fan base, Chief.
Yep. Yeah. See what we
Get a
pump one of those
couple,
love songs from Dog Walk this week.
Speaking of which, congratulations, Ed.
Thank you.
And there's some speculation that you didn't thank Kirk, so maybe we can get to that on the next draft.
Someone said that?
Kirk did.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
I
they
didn't see
talked about
that.
it on their show. They were a little.
Oh, well, because we didn't know
This
he
is the
won
second
yet.
time I'm talking about. Is it?
Yeah. Because we recorded early because I had to
You
go
should
to
have.
LA.
Oh, yeah,
Then
that's
you
true.
should in the next draft. You should address
Yeah,
it.
we'll address it.
I think Blind Mike brought it up.
Did he? I'll address it. I'll handle that internally. Okay. Blind Mike.
Okay, I wanted to do that ad read because it's either doing the ad read now
Totally.
or we do it at the end of the show.
Well, that's
'Cause
no good.
Don't think.
We owe Roman more than that.
Yeah, they're good partners.
I'd say so.
I have a swipe.
Mm-hmm.
I make Tom carry a swipe for me everywhere I go. One for Tom, one for me, just in case things get weird. Okay, Eddie, you had a ton of questions for Chief.
About the Hawks?
You did? He did?
Maybe I'm just.
I
Making
mean,
this
I'm
up.
interested
I mean, it's
in this,
Brandon Hagel.
Hagel
is,
stuff.
yeah, is Hagel. Is he
Yeah.
worth a first rounder? I know you love him, but I thought you loved him because he plays hard.
Yeah, I
And
thought
now
he was just
find
like a
out-
scrappy
Doesn't
guy.
he? The Chief makes him sound like he's a scrappy guy. Now it's
He is a
first
scrappy
round.
guy.
But like, he's a first round good scrappy guy.
So this coming draft is notoriously like known as being weak. It's got like the top of the top of the draft is unbelievable. This kid Shane Wright. He's unbelievable. He's like, once every 7 8
I remember
years.
watching
World Junior,
He's
yeah.
one of those guys that hockey idiots like us three. You look at him on because you showed me his tape a
Yeah,
while back,
he's-
and I was
he's
like
fucking-
that guy's the guy.
Like he will step in at 18 and get probably 20 25 goals and be like an impact guy right away. He's awesome.
And we're going to get him?
No. Well,
We're going to win the lottery. And we're going to get him.
There's no way after everything that's happened that Gary Bettman would allow the Blackhawks to win the lottery.
Give Rocky Wirtz a
That's
first.
fucked up.
No chance. Zero chance of that. And so they'll probably end up with the third. They'll probably win the lottery and get the third pick, and then have to give it to Columbus because it's only top 2 protected. So I think that will happen. They're gonna flip that card over, and it's gonna be the Blackhawks logo that they moved up from 12 to 3 like they did the year they got docked, and then they're like, and the Columbus Blue Jackets. So on the right.
I'm more optimistic.
What, you think they can get
Bettman's job is to make green, and the Blackhawks bring the green.
That is true.
As controversial and as shitty as they have been this year.
Yeah, but you're probably we'll see. But so you're getting it would be a contender trading for him. So the pick is automatically going to be in the 20s, and that pick in a normal draft class year, whoever they take would probably be picked in like the 40s. Late 30s or 40s. So it's like, what are you actually getting? Is it's not like a real first round pick. And the other thing with Hagel is that he signed for 2 more years after this year at $1.5 million. If he was making $4 million, I would be way more inclined to do that deal. But whenever you're going to try to, everything comes back to 88. Okay. If Kane says, I will re-sign, then you're kind of going on this path where you're trying to be a wild card team and being competitive. If he says, you can go ahead and trade me in the summer, then blow everything up. Like, get rid of DeBrincat, get rid of McCabe, Murphy, fucking literally.
What would DeBrincat bring back?
A lot.
A lot, right?
A lot.
Like a fucking King's ransom, a lot.
Chief, your Twitter poll recently revealed 75% of Hawks fans want to trade Kane and Tays to start rebuild.
Say it. You can say it.
What?
30s.
Yeah, I think they're.
You can't. I mean, when I heard
75%.
Yeah, I think 75. I think if you're actively like they have to trade Taves and Kane, like you're not thinking about it clearly, because first of all, there's not that many teams who are going to be lining up with 1 year left on their deal, and they're both going into their age 34 season to pay a guy $10.5 million. Very few teams can afford that. So then the Blackhawks would have to retain. The maximum you're allowed to retain is 50%. Well, if you do that, then it's like,
what's the point anyway?
Historically, well, for the Hawks, it wouldn't matter. On the Hawks end, if those guys want to be traded, they should actively be like, yeah, we'll take back 50% because usually you get a better haul of prospects and picks in return for that. But I don't think that there's a lot of teams would be like, well, it's only 1 year. We're going to, and then we don't know what's going to happen. So then, yeah, we get 1 year of Patrick Kane at $5.25 million, which is a fucking steal. But are we really going to give up, I don't know, 2 firsts and a prospect, which is what I think the Hawks would want back in order to trade him? I don't think they would. So then it's like you're kind of at the stalemate. And if he wants to be here, he's earned the right to be here. And I think that's still probably your best path forward. I've heard some things that I'm starting to think that the end of this contract is the end of Jonathan Taves. Maybe
as a hockey player,
I think so.
Blackhawks.
I think as a hockey player, I think he might just be done. He's got the concussion now. I don't want to get too specific, but I think that he's kind of at the end of the rope. I think.
Great resume.
Great run.
Unbelievable Hall of Famer. Build him a statue. Number in the rafters. All that. I hope that's not true. And nothing's like ironclad. It's just different conversations you have, and I don't know him at all, so I can't say that it came from anybody like super in on it, because probably he only knows. It's just something that's been like kind of whispered about. But yeah, if both of those guys come back, and they'd be at reduced rates, they're still effective hockey players, especially Kane, and then you can they still have to clear out like some pieces. But getting back to Hagel, like it's, I wouldn't say like no out of hand. I wouldn't say yes out of hand, but I'd have to know what that prospect is. If it's like somebody like Florida and they're like, we'll give you Spencer Knight, this goalie who's unbelievable, who's 23, but they got Bobrovsky, and then they have another kid coming. I think he's at Northeastern right now. This kid, Levi, who's awesome. That he's almost about to be NHL ready, so they could just be like, well, we have Levi and we have Bob on the books for 6 more years, so we like Spencer Knight is a little bit of a luxury. So it's like, hey, give us DeBrincat plus whatever, and we'll give you a Knight and a pick, And then that's something I would be on board with, but I don't necessarily think Florida would do that. So like I don't think you're going to get enough value that you're not going to be able to replace the value that Hagel brings you, because even if you take that pick and that prospect, you're kind of just hoping they turn into Brandon Hagel. And because he's only making $1.5 million, even if you get a guy like that who's ready right away and is a good player right away, he's still probably going to make $925. So what? You've found a Brandon Hagel for $600,000 less to take the risk of getting rid of him, and like the development is going to take longer. I think you're probably just better off keeping him, and you're probably better off keeping Taves and Kane, and just trying to, there's always going to be another Shane Wright. There's always going to be another, Taves and Kane don't come along. So you should really just try to max out here. I'm not saying like go and like
now forecast for us a little bit. So hold on to him, this next year or so. We're right back here again next February. Then what are we looking at? Have you looked that far down the line to see like what?
Yeah, no, this is all about like their next contract, I would say. So they have to approach them now, and then or whenever the GM is hired, and then really talk to them in the summer, like before the draft, because that's when the moving and shaking happens. So it's like, do you guys want to sign here again? And they would be eligible to sign July, whenever that date is.
Yeah.
It's moved because it's usually July 1st, but it's been moved because of I think it's been backed up still from COVID.
Sorry, did you say what you estimate what they would get
For their next deals?
Yeah.
I have speculated, and it's just like I'm spitballing, but I would say right now they each make $10.5 million a year. If they made a combined 10, I would be fine with that. So maybe Kane gets 7, Taves gets 3 if he wants to come back, or something like that. Maybe it's a smidge less. Maybe Kane wants to do him a favor. He's made over $100 million, and if he really wants to get this thing going and get it going here, then maybe he's like, I'll play for 4, and then now your cap situation looks pretty good. All of a sudden, you have like a great player at $4 million. Like, again, I'm just making things up. No one's said anything specifically to me about that.
How often does that kind of thing happen, though?
The hometown discount at the end?
I feel like that's kind of a wives' tale across sports in general.
Yes, but I would also say that he's a different kind of guy. And he's also, he could probably, I wouldn't say that his last deal has necessarily been overpaid, but he and Taves are the highest paid players in the league for the first 4 or 5 years of that deal. So that's typically doesn't happen. Usually like somebody sets the market and then the next year somebody beats beats that. They had that weird thing, the cap kind of stayed flat. So like they signed, and then the next big contract was Stamkos. I think Stamkos signed for like $2.5 million less than
he's fucking awesome.
Yeah, he's not at their level, and he hadn't won the cups yet. But yeah, like so I could envision, but I think they'd have to. He made a comment the other day, like, yeah, like I'd like it if management would talk to me about guys in the league, guys on our team. And he basically was like, yeah, like Strom's fucking good. Like you have to put him in a situation where he can succeed. Strom's been very good in the last month and a half since they've let him play his natural position as center, put him with a skill guy and with a guy who can retrieve pucks. That's always been the formula for him. And Kane just basically came out and said, he didn't say Colleton's an idiot, but he was like, he said all the things would be like, all those things that Colleton did with Strom, he's a fucking idiot. So I think if management goes to him and is like, hey, like we want you here, and he's like, okay, I'll be here, but I have to be involved in the plan or I have to know about the plan because the last 7 years has been completely fucked. And he made a comment like this last year too, being like, like I think the management should talk to us. And Stan basically, somebody in the media like read Stan his quote, and Stan was basically like, go fuck yourself. Like your job is to play, my job is to be the manager. Kane knows. Kane's a guy who just all he cares about is hockey. So he plays in his game, and he goes home and watches the West Coast games. Like that's like he's a nerd, and he knows everything about everybody in the entire league. Like it's not a joke. It's not an exaggeration. So like they should absolutely be talking to him. He's been here for 15 years. He knows everything about every team in the league. So if he's involved in the plan, I could see them being like they reach it. Like here's part of the plan, Patrick. We have you penciled in for $4 million, and then we can go get this guy and that guy, and all of a sudden you're looking like your top 9 is pretty good, and we're gonna get this guy to play with Seth Jones, and Seth Jones can really get the most out of him. He's been very good, but he needs a particular type of partner in my opinion that he hasn't had a ton of opportunity to play with. So if that all comes to pass, then maybe that, they can get back in. And he even said that he's kind of said the same thing that I've been saying, that, if they didn't piss away the first month of the year, they'd be right on the fringe of being a playoff team most likely this year. And if you assume some development from Doc, and you assume some development from some of these younger defensemen coming in, and better play overall from Jones, which he had a rough start to the year. Like you can forecast, be like, that's a wild card team, not necessarily a cup team, but if Doc gets better, Strome plays the way he's playing now for a full year, Taves is still good. That's a 1, 2, 3 centers, pretty good. Hagel's good. DeBrincat's good. Get Reichel in the mix again. He's looking like he's going to be a top 6 type player on the wing. Like you can think if you're Patrick Kane, be like, yeah, like I think this team is closer than we think. And I've talked to people inside the organization. That's kind of the sentiment. Like we're closer to being a playoff team than we're getting credit for. And so you tweak things over the summer. This summer, they have to figure out the goalie situation because Fleury is such a big key part of this. The goalie and the coach are like the two things and Kane. Those are the 3 boxes they have to check along with the GM, and then you could be competitive for the next couple of years, maybe 3 years, go to the playoffs, win a round. I would be fine with that. And then, when Kane's 36 or 37, something like that,
right off into the sunset.
Yeah. And then then
now how much
then
of this is
crater.
wishful thinking?
I don't think it is. Like I don't really have.
I mean, I'm going off of what the organization has been, the dumpster fire for the last handful of years.
Yeah.
Seemingly making every wrong move and every wrong soundbite.
Yeah.
Is this wishful thinking? I'll ask again.
Well, can you clarify that? I don't know what you mean.
I mean,
by
it
that.
all sounds great to me. Someone who doesn't know a fucking thing about this
Some
sport.
people would say that doesn't sound great. Some people would say that sounds like a waste of time. Like you either
just middling.
Yeah.
Instead of
like cratering like Detroit did.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Dave, think about it like this: was it wishful thinking for the was it wishful thinking for the White Sox to hang on to Canerco and sign Alex Rios and bring in Joe Mauer
in hindsight,
or Justin Morneau?
Justin Morneau. I was thinking about that this morning. I saw his name.
No, I think that's kind of like, to me, it sounds like she's saying like, yeah, But as Cubs fans, we went through this for like a fucking decade with Sammy Sosa.
Yeah.
It just seems like, okay, well, maybe not on the exact same path, but like it could work out. It could be beneficial. It could yield more results to go down this path. But then there's the other sentiment where it's like, at the start of the year, do you think you can win a world championship? And if you don't think you can win a world championship, you need to be working on everything you can. So at the start of next year, you're like, hey, we can win a world championship. And until you get to that point.
I think the other part of this equation is like knowing what the Blackhawks have in the pipeline now. This draft and the 2023 draft is supposed to be pretty good, especially at the top. But I don't think the timeline to being a great team changes all that much if you trade those guys, because I don't think the haul you're going to get back is going to really jumpstart things. I look at, I'm not.
But what about getting rid of them to just like, all right, those guys, that time is done. Like it's done.
Right.
Why would you want that?
Because it's over. They're not the Blackhawks.
I think that's a fair question.
So wouldn't you want to just bring in fresh faces and be like, that was a good era and it's not there anymore? And you guys are like that. I like not having. If the Cubs are going to do this rebuild and they got to get back to where they were, I like not having Bryant and Rizzo and Baez walk around.
But they have 2 guys out of 23 left from the 15 team. So like
we're talking about the 2 guys though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
like
I mean,
the
like,
2 guys.
well, Keith won the Conn Smythe and they traded him. So
Got it.
I guess if I thought that the package that they could get in return for Taves and Kane would really put them on the path to win rapidly, I would be more inclined to say yes. I don't think that is the case. So I think that they're going to be a lottery team without them, but not necessarily the best team. And even if you have the number 1 pick, that doesn't really guarantee anything. Look at fucking Edmonton. They've had a zillion first-round picks, including the best player in the world, and they have not been beyond the second round one time with McDavid. So just because you get the high picks doesn't necessarily guarantee you fucking anything. It's like 1 in the hand versus 2 in the bush. I just want to see competitive, competent hockey and have like a good organization. And then I wouldn't trade like, oh, we got to go out at the deadline and get this piece to get us in the playoffs. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't sacrifice anything for the future for the present. But I think you can kind of run both things at the same time right now, make the playoffs, develop Doc, develop some of these, Reichel. I love this kid at University of Minnesota Duluth right now, Wyatt Kaiser. I think he's going to be a very good player. Ian Mitchell. I still believe in Ian Mitchell, and the organization still believes in him too now that Jeremy's gone and Stan's gone. So I think that they have enough to kind of be, okay, they're not going to be able to get Taves and Kane again, but could they find the Hossa, Sharp, Chalmerson, Bickle, Bufflin, like those types of guys in this interim period? And then when Taves and Kane are done, do everything you can to continually build around these other pieces. And like Doc could be a piece like that. Jones will be a piece, like a complementary piece. He's not as good as Keith, but he's a 1. And then you can just kind of build this thing to make it a competent team as opposed to just being like, no, we're just going to suck indefinitely. I think I'd rather just try to win and then not without really making any real sacrifices.
And I think that's completely fair too.
Yeah, it's well reasoned. It's a good take. Hagel, no on Hagel. Confirming no on Hagel.
Depending on what that rumored prospect is, but I talked to somebody yesterday who said like, hey, like, teams called, and then the Hawks announced their GM search, and then people are like kind of waiting, so they didn't know exactly where that leak was coming from. It's not like the Hawks are actively trading him, but people have called to inquire. And I guess people have called to inquire about Kane per a different source. I think it was Darren Dreger.
I saw that somewhere on Twitter.
Yeah. And then Marc-Andre Fleury said that the Hawks have not approached him, but they've talked to his agent about potential trades. So, but Fleury also said he's going to play at least one more year. So now it's like, depending on what you get for him, maybe you can do a thing with him where you trade him and then he just circles back and stays because apparently he likes it here. So we'll see. It's a lot to figure out here in the next few weeks. I do think the GM will be named this week. I'll say that. By the time we record Redline next week, I think the Hawks will have a GM.
Go back, listen next week if you or last week if you didn't.
Any predictions to make
miss on the GM? We got into that. Hey, good heavy balance. Talk about what the Blackhawks should do with the GM search.
Davidson.
That's their interim right now.
Yeah, I think it's going to be him. But I don't know, but I think it's going to be him.
All right.
Do we like that? Yes or no?
I really don't have an opinion. I haven't sat down with these guys, and so I don't know. I don't know.
But you'll give him a chance to, be great.
Definitely.
Okay.
White Sox Dave, Willie Colon asks, he wants your opinion on the rise and fall of an American classic, the chicken pot pie. You have 2 minutes.
Chicken pot pie. I used to, I grew up a big family.
Chicken pot pie.
Did he really?
We used to.
Yeah, I put it out before the show. If you guys want something, if you want to talk about something on Redline, let me know. And Willie said he wants to know about the rise and fall.
Funny.
I'm assigning this topic to White Sox Dave, though, because he is our pointed food expert.
So last night I also indulged in a little 3-cheese, and I looked at my phone.
Pot pies, Dave.
Within, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes later, I realized I was still scrolling through Tasty BuzzFeed, those like 30-second food recipe videos on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And I came over a pot pie, and I was like, man, I used to fucking house these things. But my mom, she would get like the shitty frozen ones, like not the homemade ones. I don't know if I've ever even had a homemade chicken pot pie.
That was one of my mom used to make the homemade ones.
I bet
it was
they're
one of my favorite things.
Outstanding.
She used to do these little crumbly, flaky pastry kind of crust on top. It was so fun.
How many calories per bite do you think those are? 1 billion?
Don't want to think about it. All I know is that my mom had a little bit of a health scare. We'll say maybe like 8 years ago, where she like radically changed her diet.
I remember you saying that, yeah.
And yeah, she talked about it in Dog Walk where she had Lyme disease. The chicken pot pie has been removed from the menu. So I haven't had it.
That's a
I haven't had it
goddamn
in
shame.
8 years, and it's like one of my favorite dishes.
So, Dave, you want more or less chicken pot pies?
I would know it.
like
It's
pot pies,
February 16th right
No, I
now.
don't.
Hospital pot pies?
No.
I'll try to get Marianne to make you one.
I would love a chicken pot pie tonight. Tonight would be like the weather outside is kind of gloomy.
Wondering what your did the food expert / music expert of the show, were you satisfied with his 2 minutes?
No. It was all over the place.
I wasn't all over the place. You kept cutting me off. I said
You guys talked about pot pies.
it's you asked me about the rise and fall of a chicken pot pie, and it was funny because I haven't thought about chicken pot pies in forever until I stumbled upon them on Instagram.
Was there a
last night.
rise or a fall?
According to Willie, he said there was.
Willie's from the Bronx, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Bronx.
Tom, you're a New
I
York
feel
guy.
like-
You can speak for Willie here.
No. What do you want me to say?
Is a chicken pot pie popular in New York?
I feel like it's a southern food.
It was like part of our. I just remember it being part of like our hot lunch in high school, and I didn't like it. I never ate it. It's pretty common. Though,
I can
for-
see
It
why.
was
I
always
like
part
the
of hot lunch.
gravy. I like the fucking gravy, the consistency once you
All
get in there.
time
It's so heavy.
melt your face off food.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
because it traps that heat in there.
it
Yeah.
packs it in.
And a
gotta be
cold
careful.
pot pie doesn't hit. It's not like cold ribs. Really?
Next day, pot pie. Marianne's pot pie was so fucking good. back
Cold
in the
pot
day.
pie, Chief?
Chief's trying to fuck a pot pie right now.
Back
I
in
don't
the
blame
day.
him. Sounds
They-
good.
They
I
were
mean,
unbelievable.
He's gonna use Roman, and he's gonna be fucking
Not
balls
bad.
deep in that mirepoix.
Well, it's too. You got to make sure it's not hot.
Mirepoix.
It does have a mirepoix base.
It does.
Yeah.
Why'd you sigh, Tom?
What?
I mean, we just
What,
had
you're
like a
above
thing
pot
about.
pie?
No, we just had a thing about like ad reads and doing that stuff. So maybe don't do that.
Oh.
What stuff?
Oh, it's all right.
Is it against your values?
Is he yelling about me?
No,
Yeah, it's not your fault.
it's not. No, yeah.
It's a change of course in Barstool Sports.
We are now doing things differently by the book.
What? Well, I don't think I got this memo across my desk.
You wouldn't have, and even if you
Even if
did,
you
you
did,
probably
you
wouldn't have
wouldn't,
paid
yeah.
attention.
I definitely wouldn't have done that, but I would have read it at least. What was the?
But if you
memo?
read it and you don't soak it in, what's the use?
Well, what was it?
Don't say.
We
fuck
could talk
pot
about it
pies.
after the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
it's
do a
like-
All
little,
right, this is a little.
let's
you
do a
guys,
little round table for the
ever
boys.
since
Just
Ed
a
went
round table for
Hollywood
the
on
boys.
us, he's been extra coy.
We're bumping up against the end here. Pot pie takes, Dave.
Okay.
Only pot pie. You're backing on pot pie, buffalo chicken pot pie,
Ooh, that sounds excellent.
That's nice.
right?
And
Yeah.
easy, actually. It
I
sounds
just
like
made that one up here. I feel like that would be on a little fucking
I
roller.
wish we had an oven and a stove in this office.
You know what? I think it's better we don't.
I agree.
I really think it's better we have bare minimum cooking essentials. I don't even like looking at that hot plate.
I would like a shower.
That
though.
asshole Sydney Wells is still trying to fucking say I poisoned her.
I
she?
wanted a full locker room.
Yeah.
I wanted a locker room for shit.
Oh, dude, I would love that if we had like mechanic button ups just to wear like every fucking
Dude.
every
Oh
every
yeah,
day.
like a full you
Just-
go in.
Just,
You
just had
know?
all our names on them.
And I'm not saying like,
Like
I'm not trying to bring back. I don't want to
Yeah.
see as many. Can I
Dude,
say this time? I don't want to see every. It's not about like being around the dicks, but having a locker room to play some grab ass. You know, and like I feel
Bro,
like anytime you're in a locker room, things just get way better.
That would have been so sick.
Or we should we could record the podcast in a locker room.
That'd be awesome.
Locker room talk with
Locker
the
room
boys. With White Sox Dave.
Should we try it in the green screen room one time? Won't be the same, I guess.
But we'll like
We need you to bring your hockey bag so we can get the,
Get the proper stink.
get to
Yeah.
waft.
Yeah.
Right. Still the worst smell of all time. You
hockey
guys are
bags.
fucking awful.
Oh, I did have something. I was gonna ask you this when we did that. Would you? So obviously you wouldn't move to LA. Is there a city you guys would move to?
Yep.
Plenty.
Sincerely, not like
Honestly,
but like-
don't know. I would have to spend time before I would. Like, of course, if there was an opportunity, don't get me wrong, but like by choice, I would have to
You lived in New York park benches
for an opportunity. That's my point. Like by choice, I would have to like feel it out a little bit. You know what I mean?
No,
I don't
the way
know.
to do it's to be a snowbird somewhere.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
we gotta
You
go.
have a off-season home and then your home.
Well, it's relevant because there's Eddie has Paul Vallis on Dog Walk later this week,
Yes.
and we get into like all the shit that's going on in Chicago, and at one point it's just like, would you live here? I don't know if there was one compelling reason to stay here.
It's only because we're from here.
That's why we need the Bears. We need everybody.
These fucking cocksuckers, all of them, they
Who?
need to be better.
Cunts.
It's all right. We'll come back. I hate the doom and gloom. But
Yeah.
every week we get all these blogs and
It's just a weird time right now.
Yeah.
Things will straighten itself out, I think. Chicago's still great. It's also February in Chicago, which makes the argument stick a little harder.
Hopefully.
Glenbard West tonight against Simeon. Any picks?
Are they playing?
Glenbard.
Glenbard West.
Yeah.
They're a wagon. They got to
Glenbard
keep going
West.
against Zaga. Also, somebody asked me to bring up Marcus
They have-
Pfizer.
Dude,
that was tough.
I meant to say that Bronny James was on my flight to LA. Did you see my tweet?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, you were. What did you guys do? You were helping with Sudoku.
yeah. I was just sitting there, and because everyone's like, "Oh, what the fuck? What a loser!" You know, a 17-year-old kid. I was like, "No, you moron! They played in the fucking Donda tournament."
Against Glenbard West.
Yes,
Yeah.
and they all were wearing the Sierra Canyon
Yeah.
zip-up jackets and everything. And then when I was just sitting out there, there was a kid getting followed the camera. I was like, oh, that's definitely fucking Bronny.
Yep.
And then sure enough, I'm just sitting there in the background slamming pork rinds. I'm like, oh, I'm definitely in it. And it turned out, and I, you
Wait,
know,
O'Hare pork rinds?
well, I mean,
Where?
not like that don't say O'Hare on the bag. Like I don't think O'Hare is. Like
You bought him at like a Hudson News stop.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then one of the guys, the assistant coach, was a stoolie. He's like, "Oh, what's up, man? Like
No
you
way.
guys do, whatever." And then he saw my tweet when we landed. He DM'd me. He's like, "Don't worry, we'll get you in the dock." I was like, you don't have to. Don't feel too compelled."
Be funny.
That'd be amazing.
Give
That would
Eddie
be
a
fun.
That'd be a
$6 brownie.
great
Yeah.
cameo.
So, do you drink the milk in your cafeteria? I would let you and him on a dog walk. That'd
Yeah,
be
they
funny.
got a kid going to the
Like-
Gonzaga, a kid going to Northwestern, and what else? They're like a top 5 team in the country.
Glumbar
Glumbar,
West.
Yeah,
yeah.
Glumbar
And that's the guy who
West,
said it. He said Glumbard's fucking nasty.
Even
He's like, they're
even
really
the
good.
reserves are like going to the Ivy League and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Really?
every kid on that team's good for Glumbar West.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Home of Dave, the prettiest high school football field in America.
That's where I played my first career high school game at.
It looks like something out of Harry Potter 4. I said it. You got a problem? Come and find me. One of Eddie's favorite movies. Chief and him. You guys just goblet of fire.
Never seen it.
No,
I've seen the first one.
I've
but
seen the full catalog. Never read them, but I watched the movies like maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
I
Enjoyed
actually
it.
went through a little Harry Potter binge because I have seen probably every movie, just never start to finish. I've seen like each part on TV. They're fine. They're good.
So our resident movie expert gives it a 2 thumbs up.
It was, I can see why they're not really for me, but I can see why people love them.
How many
they're
stars?
They're out of 4 stars, right? Not 5.
Well, I think you get to pick how many stars you want.
I'm gonna go on the pizza scale. I'll give them a
Why
7.3.
don't you do the colonial scale? Give me 13 stars.
We can do that. 8. 8 stars.
Yeah, boy, Dave.
I got Glenbard West highlights up
Just
right now.
and can you?
I know, I was gonna
can
say
you
that.
do Joker for context?
I don't know how to.
My father was a drinker and a fiend, and one day he goes off crazier than usual.
Okay.
That's actually pretty good, I think.
No,
It is
you didn't
pretty
even
good.
give us a chance to say that. You just complimented yourself. I was just about to say that was good.
I think it sounds actually really good.
Eddie,
Um,
anything else, Eddie?
No, I would have gone to Glenbard
Chief,
West High School
what do
if
you
I
got?
never moved from the first house I lived in, which I don't remember.
We almost went the whole. What about
Coming from
you know
the
what?
guy that does not ever shut the fuck up about his high school.
I love my high school.
But
Wait, we did
like,
a whole
what-
Jim Belushi interview on your high school.
Kinda.
Yeah. we like each other's high school. Don't get all whatever.
But I mean, you said like, oh, we almost won a whole. I don't bring up my high school much. I definitely don't. I don't bring it up unless it's brought up.
I got to check the tape. I think you and I are pretty equal on this.
No,
All right, what about?
way? I couldn't give a flying fuck less about Wheatmoreville South.
I got a half hour to kill. Let's do this.
We can.
I did have one more serious question.
The only games I've hoped they won in the last couple of years are the 2 games they played against Brother Rice.
Did we lose or beat you guys in basketball? We
They-
lost this year
In basketball, they lost. Well, Wheaton South won in basketball. Wheaton South lost on the last play in football. So yes,
All right,
they're
we're even.
split.
All right, we're fine. We're fine, guys. Everything's fine. I actually was gonna pitch you on something.
Yeah, pitch me. I'm all ready to be pitched.
Let's pitch. Let's pitch.
You pitch, I
Chief,
catch.
you may want to leave the room here.
I decline.
All right, Chief, you can stay here if you want, but
Hold on, can I throw in a dip first?
if it makes you more likely to accept the pitch,
Okay. Pitch me. Be like the dude who killed himself in the plane hitting his head on the thing. Billy Mays.
all right,
Pitch me.
We gotta get going. I got 60 seconds to pitch Dave on this, but I really do think there's a market for 2 guys who don't know anything about soccer to lead a Darby County soccer-based 20-minute weekly recap show on YouTube. Just, transfer window passed. There's a lot of competition coming up, some rivalry. I just wanted to see if you were interested in that.
I mean, I don't know if I can be because they just got fucking smoked by Middlesbrough, and the sour taste is just still in my mouth, and I don't even want to talk about the game.
They're about to get relegated.
I'm so disgusted with them right now. They have a huge game this Saturday coming against the Peterborough team. Fucking, it is going to be a barn burner. I'm expecting like a 1-0 game. But it'll play like a 12-2 game.
It's a developing situation. Stay tuned for your Championship League soccer podcast brought to you and hosted by White Sox Dave.
No, soccer can fuck off. I just said fucker. Soccer can fuck off.
All right.
Jesus, Fokker.
That's it. All guess.
No breaks.
DJ Plaship.